Streaming some of our latest weather information because I know a lot of you are talking about our first alert weather days and the storm that's going to be coming our way tomorrow and even lingering into Wednesday. So I'm going to give it a few minutes here. Let some folks join in. I know we have everybody kind of joining us on all different platforms, kind of coming here online to the digital world. So of course it takes a little bit of time, and I don't want people missing out on the information because we want everybody to know what's going on or what's going to happen, and then also what you can expect and those impacts as well. So there's a lot of details. As far as today, while we're waiting for everybody to join in, we've had quite a bit of cloud cover. So this is kind of the calm before the storm. Not a whole lot going on our Monday forecast. So that's nice, kind of get us eased back into the work week. And we're actually going to have a really busy weather pattern coming up this week and even into the weekend. So once we get through this first one on Tuesday and Wednesday, heads up, is not going to be it here for this week. We're still going to have much more to be talking about in the weather department. So we are going to have just a few moments here. We'll wait for everybody to join in. What we'll be talking about is, of course, the timing. We'll be talking about snow totals. We'll be talking about impacts. I know your morning commute, your evening commute. Everybody's wondering, how is my drive going to be? And the thing is, our whole newsroom has been working on coverage for this storm. So we're going to have more coming up on air at 5 p.m. I know we had folks in Midland County who have been talking to their team there about what they're anticipating in their coverage for roads. I even heard snowplow drivers are getting excited for this one. So a lot of the snow lovers are going to be excited for this storm. If you're not a fan of snowfall, we'll get through it together. And of course, we'll have the information for you. So a lot of you have probably signed in and joined us so far. Of course, you can catch us on Facebook, also on our live stream, WNEM.com. So we have a lot of information and ways to get to it. So first things first, we have those first alert weather days. We are going to, or our team has declared those for Tuesday and Wednesday. So as we pull up these weather graphics, because I don't want to block your vision here, you're going to find that we're talking about snow, rain, and also we're going to be looking at wind to be part of this system. So travel impacts, those are going to be possible within the storm. I also want to show, though, with our first alert weather day, some of you are going to find that that is extended out all the way through Wednesday morning, and for others that's just Tuesday morning. So if you were in the yellow, your first alert weather day, that's just going to be for Tuesday morning. That's because we're all going to start out with some snow tomorrow, and then we will see a switch of rain. So that's why we're going to end that first alert weather day for folks in the yellow towards the afternoon and evening tomorrow, but it is going to continue on for our northern counties because they are going to stay in the snowfall all the way through this storm. So I know it's a little bit dicey saying, okay, where am I at? What can I expect? But either way, you have to be alert, and you just need to be weather aware when we're talking these first alert weather days. Also, just coming in about a half hour ago, not even, we did get an update from the National Weather Service. So if you joined us at noon, we were talking about those winter storm watches. That's for all of our northern counties. You can also see that that's in Aranac Bay. We also have that in Gladwin, Midland counties, but along 127, that's where we have gotten the latest information of that winter weather advisory. So for folks that are in Isabella County, you're going to find that that advisory is going to start at 4 a.m. Tuesday, and that's going to last until 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. So we're anticipating, the reason for the advisory and not the warning is because though we are still anticipating travel impacts, we're hoping that they're not going to be to that level to where we do need to hop up to that warning. Also, for folks who are going to be traveling west, who maybe have family on the west side, they are also under that winter weather advisory. As far as the thumb, you'll even see Saginaw County, Genesee County, and Shiawassee County. We don't have any watches, warnings, or advisories there. So you can kind of see already where that fine line is going to be. As far as these updates, I know I get them on my device, so you can get them on yours. So I want to make sure everybody has the TV5 First Alert Weather app. It's free to download. You can get it on the Google Play Store. You can get it on the Apple App Store. And you can even see that QR code there. If you scan that, that's going to send you to your store to download the app. All you have to do is set it up to your location. We do not track you. We just want to make sure that you're getting the alerts for where you're going and that you get that little dot that shows up where you are on radar, so you know if you're in the rain or if you are in the snow. So make sure you give that a scan, have the app. Of course, it's a helpful tool to have in the toolbox here for this week with all these weather patterns and the changes that we have, but it's a really good tool even on the quiet weather days with some extra information. On our sky tracker, so here's the storm. We have this low pressure system. It's on the western side of Oklahoma, and it's going to still have rain and snow as it pushes in. So we're seeing that about 875 miles away. So still quite a bit of time until that gets here, but we are still going to see that the system already is starting to what we call occlude. So we already have a little bit of a dry slot in there. So let me point that out. So you can kind of see this drying. This is wrapping around. This is going to be an important part for us to keep track of, because as this system continues to head our direction, it's still going to have this dry slot in there. And that's going to start to wrap around that big red L, because this is rotating counterclockwise. So that's going to determine, one, snow totals. It's going to play with the timing. It's even going to play with the strength of the storm. So there's a lot to watch in just the mechanics of this low pressure system. So again, this is going to be traveling in our direction. We'll start to see that arrival time later on tonight. Speaking of that, let's just hop right into the hour by hour forecast. For the rest of your Monday, cloudy skies, it's winter. Sadly, we can't change it, but at least we don't have any rain or snow falling here during the daylight hours of your Monday. Overnight is when we will start to see that snowfall coming in. So for your dinner plans tonight, if you're picking up kids from practice, roadways will be no issues at all. As we go into Tuesday morning, here I have the clock stopped at 3 a.m. You can see that snowfall. It's already pushing in the southern half of the state, so it's going to start to move into mid-Michigan during the middle of the night. Then it's going to be here. Everybody is going to be seeing that snowfall as we go into your Tuesday morning. Here we are, 6 a.m. A lot of you are getting ready for not only school, but you're getting ready to hit the roads for the morning commute. So we've already had about 3 hours at this point where we've seen some snow coming in. Temperatures will be below freezing. We do anticipate some snow to be sticking to roadways Tuesday morning, meaning that your commute could be a little bit slippery in some spots, in some locations. So keep an eye, give yourself a few extra minutes to get to your destination tomorrow morning, so then you can drive at some slower speeds. As we go into kind of that mid to late morning, it'll break apart just a little bit, but it's going to resurge again. Or by lunchtime, you can see everybody is back seeing the snow. So where's the rain component of this? We have to wait till the afternoon. Here we are at 2 o'clock. If you're along I-69, you're going to start to switch over from snow and head into that rain form. That's going to continue to push up further north. Next, we'll see it all across the thumb, and we'll see it edging into the Tri-Cities. As it does, this is by the time the evening commute's going to come in. So some locations are going to see slushy roadways. We're going to start to see some melting. Also, with the snow that we've picked up, when that rain falls into it, it's going to start to compact the snow. It's going to get heavy. It's going to fall down on itself. So that is going to kind of make the snow a little bit more lower or squattier, we could even say. So just something to consider when we're doing measurements and even talking about those snow totals. So through the dinner time frame Tuesday, you can see the southern half of our viewing area working with rain. The further north you are, you can see Isabella County, Gladwin County, even into Roscommon, you are still working with snowfall. So we will see that transition to be between rain and snow, kind of cutting right through the Great Lakes Bay region, right through the Tri-Cities, and even cutting through parts of Isabella County. So that's going to be our trickiest spot. This is going to be our zone where we are going to be looking at kind of maybe even a tricky or bust part of our forecast, because the big determination is where do we transition or stop transitioning from rain to snow? Is that going to continue pushing north, or does that warm air kind of stall out in this area? So this is what we're going to be watching, because another thing to point out is right along this rain snow line, that's usually where you pick up your heaviest of snow. You just have a little more water there to work with. So that's a lot of times where we kind of see a surge as far as some snow totals. So we'll be watching this zone closely to see how well we can transition. That again is going to be towards Tuesday evening. As we go overnight, let me slow this down and go back in time. This is midnight here. You can still see that we're working with some rain. The snow, though, still filling in, and for the rest of your night, we're going to have that snowfall. That's going to transition back for everybody. So we're going to be looking at snowy conditions as we wake up once again Wednesday morning. Roadways could still be on the slower side, but it doesn't take long and that snow is going to push out. By mid-morning, then this whole system is going to be out of town. We'll just be left with a few lingering snow showers and cloudy skies. So it's going to be pretty quiet then for the back half of your Wednesday. And see, even by 4 o'clock, not a whole lot happening here. So let's talk about snow totals. This is always the big thing that everybody's looking for. So we'll kind of take it zone by zone. You'll see that trace to 2 inches. That's going to include the thumb, that's going to include I-69 region, and that's going to start to cut into portions of Saginaw County. We're looking here at about a trace to 2 inches, but you'll also notice all those specks and those dots there. That's because the majority of that snowfall, that trace to 2, is going to fall early Tuesday morning, so during the commute. That's mainly when we're going to be picking up snow, because remember, we have that rainfall that's going to be pushing in. So that's going to kind of trim down on how much snow we can pick up. But then as we head a little bit deeper, further north and west, kind of aligning there with the bay, we have a band of 1 to 3 inches to be possible. So that's going to include portions of Gratiot County, that's going to include parts of Midland County, and also Bay County as well. This is kind of that tricky zone on where we're going to be. Where does that rain snow line set up? So that's why we're looking at about 1 to 3 inches there. The further north you go, northern Isabella County, even off towards Roscommon County, and then over, you are going to find 2 to 5 inches is going to be possible. Towards the lakeshore, I do have a little bit of that light purple shading there because the lake could have a little bit of an effect to kind of trim down totals just along the shoreline. So we'll be watching that area. And another thing to point out is I wouldn't be surprised if we do in that 2 to 5 zone have an isolated location that says, hey, I measured 6 inches. We could see an isolated 6 in that area, but mainly we're going to be looking at about 2 to 5 inches of snowfall. This is going to go all the way even through our Wednesday. So the snow showers that we pick up Wednesday morning and anything that tries to linger beyond that is included in here. So we are anticipating though some melting. We're anticipating some compaction because we're going to be looking at a wetter snow. And we're also going to be looking at how that transition goes. So overall, this is our map as far as those snow totals. A lot of things to keep in mind here though. As we look ahead as far as your impacts, mainly your impacts are going to be on roadways and travel. You're going to find Tuesday morning, you have the red light here on our map. As far as the snow, it's going to be starting at this point. It'll even have some snow sticking to our roadways. Of course, crews, they are going to be working pretty early on, so that's going to help. They'll be able to salt. Temperatures are going to be hanging right around the freezing mark, so it's going to make salt very effective in this case. But with it kind of being a wet, heavier snow, we're going to be looking at that slush component, and that's going to carry into Tuesday afternoon. Any snow we pick up before that rain's able to melt it away, it's going to kind of get a little bit slushy. So that's why I held with the yellow light, because roadways are still going to be a little bit slippery. We are going to have some slower speeds. The further north you go, that's when you're going to kind of be in that red light, because we're going to still be looking at snow-covered roads at that point. And as we go into Tuesday evening, we'll still be talking about snow on the roadways. We'll be talking about slippery conditions. Another thing to keep in mind is our crews, they're great at cleaning things up for us, which is fantastic. But if we do get down to the pavement, and if you notice it's a little bit shiny, with temperatures dropping below freezing, don't just assume it's wet. That shine could be slick. It could be ice. So still keep an eye to roadways Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. As far as some of the details for this first alert weather day, we are talking about that heavy snow. We're talking about the rain and even some wind. Wind gusts tomorrow, they're going to be around 25 towards even 30 miles per hour. As far as power outages, that is not really going to be something that we have to be too concerned with. It's mainly going to be our roadways that are going to be impacted. So again, we have the snow. That's going to transition to rain the further south you are. The further north, you're going to mainly be working with snow all day for your Tuesday and even as we go into the first half of your Wednesday. As far as those accumulations, we talked, it's going to be a couple inches here. Also keep in mind that visibilities at times on roadways, it might get a little bit tricky with that snow coming down. So it's just best to slow down your speeds and make sure you are being also a little bit of distance between other drivers. So give yourself plenty of time to brake, give yourself distance between other drivers, and of course, make sure you just take it slow on the roads. Now, last week we were talking about, hey, when we're making our forecast, this is where we're sitting. We're seeing that the storm is developing, but we don't have a lot of consistency. We've now locked into the zone as far as the consistency. And now that we're a day out from this storm, we have a pretty good trend on where it's going to be as far as its path. And also that snow accumulation map is available. So just kind of carrying you through the process and how we've all been working on this here for the last week. We were able to see that data out into the distance, developing that storm. And now that we've gone through all the steps, here we are. We know the track that we anticipate for the storm. We do have that snowfall map and what we're working with. So another highlight as far as that timeline, we're going to everybody be working with snowfall tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's when we start to transition from snow to rain in our southern zones. And then into the evening, we will have everybody, especially overnight, switching back into those snow showers for Wednesday morning. So of course, stay updated with the TV5 First Alert weather app. You're going to find information there. Also on WNEM.com, we have a web on our website there. You're going to find a web page that has all the information. So we talked about the snowfall map. You're going to find it there. We talked about the hour-by-hour timing. We talked about it there. Impacts. That's all going to be there. So we're keeping that updated for you, so you can go and pin that on your browsers and keep an eye to that. We'll have that going. We're also going to keep it on the TV5 First Alert weather app as well. Actually, just coming in, I'm going to switch gears. I want to go back to our winter weather alerts because we have seen an update just in the matter of the last 10 or so minutes of us talking. We do have that winter storm advisory. So that has now been issued for everybody. So for folks who are under the winter storm watch, you're actually now under the advisory. So we are going to continue to see that from our southern counties to the north. If you are in the thumb, so if you're in Huron, Tuscola, Sanilac, or Lapeer counties, you do not have any advisories, you do not have any watches or warnings either. But this advisory, some of the times are going to be a little bit different depending where you are at and where that's going to come to an end. But the biggest thing is that you're going to see a lot of these go into effect overnight and towards sunrise tomorrow morning, and they are going to last into Wednesday morning. That's because we are still anticipating travel impacts at that time. Of course, these updates, they are on the app, so I'm going to have that QR code up there for you to scan. It's a free app to use. It's a great tool to have. Plus, all of your friends here on the TV5 First Alert weather team, we've been working on this, so we have updates for you. We want to give you the latest information that we can. As far as, again, I'm going to go over our First Alert weather days. You're going to find everybody has that in effect for tomorrow morning because your commute probably going to be a little bit slower, going to be a little bit trickier. As we go into the afternoon, though, we will see that First Alert weather day kind of chipping away the further south as the rain comes in. So our northern counties, you are going to stay under that First Alert weather day all day Tuesday and through Wednesday morning. By the time we get to Wednesday lunchtime, we should be able to wrap up our First Alert weather day. So something to keep an eye to there. Before we wrap up, I'll take you one more time through our hour-by-hour forecast for folks who have joined us maybe a little bit later. You'll find for the rest of your Monday, not a lot going on here today. We have those cloudy skies. Things don't start to pick up until the middle of the night tonight. So from about 4 a.m., that's when we're going to start to see that snow push in. So we're going to have a good 3 or so hours that we can pick up snow before a lot of us are hitting the roadways to head to work. So that's going to cause then some snow-covered roads to work with. Going to be a little bit trickier to navigate, but as we go through the remainder of our morning, might have a little bit of a lull mid-morning, but then into that lunchtime hour, we see it surge back up. So quite a bit of blue here at this point. It's after lunch that we do have that green. That starts to cut in for us. It's going to come in from the south. So I-69, if you're along the highway, you're in great shape for our southern tiers of counties. Then into the thumb, that's when you start to see the transition of snow going over to rain. It'll even cut over to the Tri-Cities. Again, that line through the Tri-Cities and over towards Gratiot and Isabella counties is going to be very tricky. This is kind of the part that makes us all sweat here in the forecast because it's just a lot of work to figure out how far north is that warm air going to make it. Is it going to come into the Tri-Cities and is it going to be dicing through? So we're going to be watching that line closely. And of course, we're going to have updates for you throughout the whole time that the storm pushes in. So as that line pushes north, we're going to find that still with that rainfall around 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And then we will go into Wednesday morning where we do see that snowfall. That's going to be back. So the back side of the system, that's what we're looking at to get you out the door Wednesday morning. And then it does start to wrap up mid to late morning with just a few lingering snow flurries going throughout the day. Another check of that snowfall total map, because I know a lot of you are saying, hey, how much am I going to get at my house? What am I going to see? How much am I going to get at work? We're looking at a trace to 2 inches for the thumb. along I-69 and getting into Saginaw County. Then we switch over the further north and west. You're going to find that 1 to 3 inch zone, and then even further north yet we have 2 to 5 inches. That's going to be possible. An isolated 6, can't rule it out in some locations, and then along the lakeshore might be a little bit lighter. Of course, we know how the lake likes to play with our forecast, so it could be a little bit on the lighter side just along the lakeshore. Another thing to point out is all those dots there. That mainly means that snowfall is going to fall in the morning, because we will have that rainfall that's going to be pushing through. So not all of it, but the majority of that rain, or excuse me, that snow is going to fall for the first half of your Tuesday before we switch over to the rainfall. So of course, we're going to continue to provide updates here online. We'll have updates coming your way at 5 o'clock. You're always welcome to get the latest updates and information on the TV5 First Alert weather app. And hopefully we were able to answer your questions. Of course, if you have any more, you can connect with your TV5 First Alert weather team on social media. But also, like I said, the TV5 First Alert weather app, we're updating that for you so that you can stay updated on the latest. Of course, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on our next newscast.